Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. With another topic on Dryden as a comparative critic. So, as we know that his contribution is also of paramount importance in the field of comparison or comparative criticism. So, let us look and try to understand Dryden and his contribution in the light of great critics sayings. So first of all, I would like to quote Scott James. Scott James admires Dryden's contribution to the field of comparative criticism. His study of the ancients as well as of the moderns was deep, and he could compare very well and with authority the ancients and the moderns. So it points to the wide and vast study of John Dryden, without which we cannot do our job as a comparative critic properly. As opposed to his contemporaries, Dryden approached the ancients and the moderns on a much more scientific basis. Apart from the difference of style and language, there could be the difference of character of tastes. Fashions in taste changed as fast as fashions in costumes. Dryden anticipated Taine in pointing out that each age or nation has its own genius. The climate counts for something. The disposition of mankind varies at different times and places, and involves variations in taste and in art. Shakespeare and Fletcher enjoyed a success in their own age comparable with that of Sophocles and Euripides. So in this connection, the following examples taken from his two works, Preface to Fables and an essay of dramatic poesy, well illustrate his art of comparative criticism. Number 1. His preface to Fables gives us memorable comparative estimates of Ovid and Chaucer, two great names in literature. Further, he says that with Ovid ended the golden age of the Roman tongue. From Chaucer the purity of the English tongue began. Both of them were well-bred and well-natured, amorous and liberative. Their studies were the same philosophy and philology. Both write with wonderful facility and clearness. Neither were great inventors, for Ovid only copied the Grecian fables, and most of Chaucer's stories were taken from his Italian contemporaries or their predecessors. And the second is more stimulating than the estimates of Ovid and Chaucer is the comparative estimate of Homer and Virgil. And here the quote, Virgil was a quiet, sedate temper. Homer was violent, impetuous, and full of fire. The chief talent of Virgil was propriety of thoughts and ornament of words. Homer was rapid in his thoughts and took all the liberties both of numbers and expressions, which his language and the age in which he lived allowed him. Our two great poets being so different in their tempers, one choleric and other phlegmatic and melancholic, the action of Homer being full of vigor than that of Virgil. And the third one is the essay of dramatic poesy. And here this essay also gives a comparative piece of criticism in its immortal comparison of Shakespeare and Benjamin Jonson. The French and the English, the ancients and the moderns, out of 4 speakers in the essay can be woven 4 approaches. Critic defends the ancients, Eugenius defends the superiority of the Elizabethan English drama, Lycidius prefers the French to the English, and the Elizabethan drama to that of early Restoration period, and Neander finally defends the English as opposed to the French. Just mark the following passage of comparative criticism. Quote, I must acknowledge him the more correct poet, but Shakespeare the great wit. Shakespeare was the Homer or father of our dramatic poets. Johnson was the Virgil, the pattern of elaborate writing. I admire him, but I love Shakespeare. Unquote. And dear students, David Dyches further remarks, quote, nevertheless, his catholicity of taste and fairness of judgment are remarkable. The judicial balancing of virtues and faults, the sense that each of these writers has his own special gifts and is not necessarily to be censured for lacking qualities which another may have. The ability to summarize the total achievement of a writer are all marks of a great critic. Dyches also praises the critical sophistication of Dryden in this respect. So you can find out the salient features of Dryden as a comparative critic too. Thank you.